Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about winter storm prep, and mainly on this channel I cover about animals, not necessarily here to talk about what you can do to prepare for yourself. So if you don't know, here in the United States, I don't know where else is specifically getting it, but here in the US we are about to get hit with they're calling it a major winter storm. Now, main concerns, I think, as of right now, is the people down south, because people like that, they're not as prepared for this kind of weather, and what it's going to be is what's going to be affecting them more. It's going to be the ice, and it's going to be a lot of rain, cold temps making it freeze, and that is just going to be pain, and it's just not going to be a good situation for power. There's probably going to be a lot of power outages. So the only thing that I can suggest, if you are in those areas, or if you want to prepare yourself in your house, is to always look into stocking up on things that you need, on food, on supplies, blankets, things that you know in a pinch you're going to be needing. But today specifically, I'm going to be talking about animals and how to care for them in the cold. Basically everything I do, because I've had animals in winter now for about 10 years, and this is what I find works the best for chickens. We're talking about chickens today, and other poultry. I raise a lot of poultry, but yeah, so join me today as we go over that. First thing I want to talk about is water. So we have a freeze-free pump, and this doesn't freeze at all, so that's obviously a win right there, as you want to get something that's not going to freeze. But having access to water is always a good thing. When it comes to your animals, having water that is not frozen is obviously the next best thing. If you're not interested in any heat options, in anything that plugs in, no electricity, no nothing, I recommend you get these rubber bowls, because the ice is a lot easier to get out of those. Plastic or metal, it's gonna bust, but the rubber, it lasts just a lot longer. So get yourself some rubber containers. I have one here for them, and then I have one for the rabbits as well. But yeah, water options, you want to go with something like this or something that plugs in. So right here we have a 2-gallon poultry hanging nipple waterer, and so right here they come up to this, and all they have to do is peck it, and you can see the water comes right out. The entire container stays heated, so the water inside never freezes. I've never had an issue with these. In the winter, these are a lot more convenient because you have access right to the top. You can just pour your bucket right in. It's a lot easier to aim a bucket of water in those versus what I'll show you after this. And you can just see the wire runs up, and then it plugs into our outlet right there. And so the other option that I have is right over here. I have these waters. These are also hanging waters, and they do plug in. But the thing I don't like about these, this holds a lot more water too, so that's always good. The thing I don't like about these is I feel like this is more waste. It gets dirtier faster, and they're always flying it everywhere. And this is your access if you don't want to unscrew the whole thing. It's just this tiny little hole, and this sometimes gets stuck, and so it's just not convenient. But the base on this is completely heated, and these work really well. If you have ducks or geese, they need something they can dip their beak into. So if you're not going to do the rubber bowl and stuff, this is a good option for them, because while they can do nipple waters, which is what I have over here, while they can do this, it's better for a goose to use a water they can dunk their beak into, because it cleans out their nostril. Because when they're constantly eating, they can get stuff stuck in their nose and they need that option. So those are my water options. Another one, if you do want to go with the bowl and have it be heated, is this this pet bowl. So this one needs cleaned out right now, but this one I'll fill up and it plugs right in, and this whole thing stays heated. And this is what I have for the cat, and then some of my rabbits have this as well. So those are water options. Now, another more recent thing that I've seen people try, I personally haven't done it myself, but if you're looking to plug something in, you don't want to spend like $60 on a water, because they can be a little bit expensive, but they last. I haven't had one break yet. What you can do is you can use an old crock pot. What you can use, you can just take that, set it down, plug it in, and that is the same thing, would be the same thing as like plugging in a heated water dish. So I guess people do that. I don't know if that works. Leave your suggestions in the comments down below. If you have tried that, let me know if it works for you, but that's something that we have never done. But I mean, I guess people say it works. I don't know. Another thing that I saw somebody do is they took a bucket and just kind of surrounded it, dug it into the ground, surrounded it with manure or straw and stuff, and because that puts off heat in itself, that works to keep the waters on fire. Do you mind? Thank you. So yeah, that's about all I have for waters. Now, on the topic of insulating your chicken coop, let's talk about that, because I feel like some people are thinking that their chickens are going to be so cold outside, depending upon the temperature. I'm going to say this because I honestly, you do what's best for you and what you think is best for your flock. But depending upon your situation, your temperatures, because I genuinely don't know what the absolute low a chicken can get to before they freeze to death. Chickens are capable of keeping themselves warm in winter, meaning you should not be using supplemental heat, like heat lamps, like heat plates. These are things that are a risk for fire, which is why I gave options for things that you may not want to plug in, because sometimes, and as of recently, people have been trying to not plug stuff in as much because they're worried about things catching on fire, which I get that, I understand, but it's more of a convenience thing, and so I do choose to plug some things in. But I do not use supplemental heat for my birds. Our coop is insulated. Not well, but it is completely surrounded by something. You can use whatever you choose, but it is completely insulated. That way the cracks in the barn, wind doesn't blow through. That would be my suggestion to you on insulating a chicken coop. Other than that, give them a bunch of straw before winter. They will molt and they bring on their new winter coats. A lot of animals do this. And so they are totally prepared for the cold and whatever's gonna come at them. So they do not need heat lamps and they do not need heat plates, but if that's something that you're gonna do over everything else, I highly suggest you use a heat plate. It's safer. Heat lamps are they're known to cause fires. So if you're gonna do that, buy a heat plate. That's my best suggestion. But if you wanna stay away from that, this is what I do. This is what I've done. We had negative 30-degree temps like a year or two ago. It was absolutely ridiculous. And this is what we did. I have straw down at the base. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put probably half a bale in here at some point before this hits tomorrow. And I'm just going to pile it up and they're going to stay in here. And that heat is going to they're going to make their own body heat. The other thing that I can say is, like I said, cover up any drafts. We have insulation on the wall. But one of the main things that you can do if you're not really interested in insulating at all. So what you can do is you can take those feed bags and you can nail them to the wall, fill them with straw, and that right there is insulation in itself. And so that is something that I do. Plus, I mean, come on, it looks cool. So let's talk about internal temperature. One thing you can do, and I've heard people do, I personally never done it because I try to stay away from GMO crops, is you can go and you can buy cracked corn for your birds. That's something that people give their animals every winter. What that does is it raises their internal temperature. So I've heard, again, never tried this. So if you have, let me know if it works for you and leave that in the comment section below, because I personally do not know or have experience with that. But that's just kind of what I'm doing for my chickens, I guess, with all this. I'm not moving anybody. They're gonna stay in the barn if it gets really bad. The geese are fine because they have so much down in their feathers. The rabbits would be the only one. I have one rabbit outside in an insulated coop, and she does have fur that can hold up to these conditions. She would be the only one I would probably bring inside because she is by herself and she can't huddle with anyone else. But with rabbits, if you give them a large enough pile of straw, they will hide in it. That's just what they do. They burrow. So those are things that I'm doing for my animals. I don't know how to take care of goats or cows or horses and stuff like that, but I have seen some of the people that I know with their goats. They're basically just giving them lots and lots of straw. And so if you're in one of these areas that you need to start preparing for, winter, and you don't know what to do with your animals, that's my best bet for you, is to go ahead and invest in something that is going to keep your waters from freezing, get your coop insulated, that way no drafts are coming in, and just give them lots of straw so they can create their own heat, hide in it if they need to. And also stock up. If you haven't learned about stocking up until this point, get yourself a bunch of feed and just stock up. And if you really want to be a prepper, make your own food. Make your own chicken food. One thing that I find just for us is that's what we do. We just go and we will make our own food. We'll can food, we'll grow food. These are things that you got to think about, not in the winter. You got to think about them in the spring and the summer, all year round. You got to prepare for what's ahead, because stuff like this happens, and so you want to be ready for it. All right, so over here I have my straw bales. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take about half a bale for today. I'm just going to move this right on into their chicken coop. We're going to spread this around, and if later on in the week I feel I need to add more, I put more up in the loft. This is stocking, preparing. You want to make sure you have all this before it hits. So we're just going to go ahead and take it right in here. We're going to throw it around so that way they can stay warm. Hey, there's a goose egg. Cool beans. And there we go. We have down some fresh straw for all of them. One of the other things you can do, something that I do, is during the winter, coming out and cleaning the coop is not something that usually happens. So allowing that manure to pile up is not necessarily a horrible thing. Just keep layering it. And honestly, that heat from the manure will produce a warming system already for them. So it's okay to leave your coop a little bit dirty in the winter. It honestly helps. As for frozen eggs, I don't know what to say about that, but I do have a frozen egg here. And that's kind of sad because I really wanted to eat this. Aw. Frozen goose egg. Ooh, that is a massive yolk. Dang. Ew. Yucky. But no, I really think with these winter storms, I understand everybody's concerned, but it's one of those things where I don't think we should be super duper hyped up about it. Because honestly, God created all these animals, and most of these animals he intended to be in this weather, and a lot of farm animals, I say that broadly because there is a lot of farm animals that are intended for this. But if you're really worried about it, those are things that I would do to take care of my feather babies. That's what I'm doing this weekend. Same with the bunnies. We're gonna go throw some straw in there, that way they can just huddle right into it if they need to. But honestly, I think everybody's gonna be good. Worst case scenario, we bring them into the basement. We have solar panels here, so losing power is not really a risk. But definitely get a generator if you're worried about that, because being without power is a big deal. Example of when I say drafts. I'm gonna have to come up here and cover this, that way the wind doesn't blow through here, because this is a direct, risk. You can see all through there's drafts. In the summer, this is great because it's like ventilation, but in the winter, this is something that I want to keep out. So this wall specifically, I'm probably going to come up and cover, but for right now, we're just gonna give them some straw bales, and this is basically what I do for my birds because they're fine. So this is the thought process. There's a little bit of wind back here. So what I'm going to do basically is just try to get as much straw into these cracks in the back. Try to pile some around this hut. And then what they can do is they can just crawl right in there, stay warm, and not have to worry about the cold come this weekend or winter at all, honestly. So we're out here in the aviary. As you can tell, it's a lot more open, but we do have a section back here that allows them to get away from most of the wind. So they usually will hang out back there. Inside here, they can come in here or here, and they can even huddle under here. Most of the time my quail go here, and if you have quail, you're raising quail, they are good at winter. Same as the pigeons are good at winter, but I like to, once again, supplement a little bit of straw just so they have an extra protection, because I don't want to make this miserable for them and put them to the test. I'd rather have them be safe, and so that's just kind of what we're doing. But have their food, they can hide in here. They make an awful mess. And then right in here I have their nesting boxes, and right here's a heat plate. This is what the heat plate looks like. See how it stands up? There's no light, there's no option for it to break or to catch on fire. When this thing dies, it shuts off. It's just completely done. So this right here is what I would suggest. Don't lay it down, keep it face up. It works as a heater. Right under here we have pigeons that are having babies. I don't know why they're having babies in winter, but they are. So what we're basically gonna do is we're just going to give them a little bit of straw. So that's everything for today's video. Hope everybody fares well during these winter storms. The cold, it can be really rough. So I just pray that everybody stays safe. Same with your animals. Keep them safe, keep them warm as you can. Supplement if you need to. But I hope my suggestions and stuff helped out a little bit. If you have any recommendations or suggestions of your own, leave them in the comment section below. And make sure to subscribe to this video. I really don't say that much, but I was looking at the stats the other day, and there's a large majority of you who are watching my videos and aren't even subscribed. So what are you doing? Subscribe so you can stick around to watch more awesome content. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.